What's up guys, my name is Ace, and with the Season 3 Reloaded update in Modern Warfare 3, the FR-556 saw a complete rework to a lot of its attachments, and therefore today I wanted to have a revisit of this gun. I want to compare it to the other burst assault rifles in the game currently, to see where it fits in, and then I also wanted to share my new favorite setups to use with the FR-556 after this update, because it definitely is at least a little bit better than it was pre-patch. So diving right in, let's first see where the FR-556 falls in relation to the other burst assault rifles in the game. And as you can see here, we actually have the best 4-shot kill potential out of these burst assault rifles. However, you'll also notice we have the slowest time to kill potential within that 4-shot kill range out of all of these, and this is due to the fact that we have the slowest burst delay in the class at 150 milliseconds. Now, it's also worth talking a little bit about headshots here as well, because with all of the 3-round burst assault rifles, so the FR-556, the DG56, and the M16, they have a potential to get a 1-burst kill or a 3-shot kill if you land 2 headshots mixed in with bonus zone shots to the body, at least within their maximum damage range. And that's just something I felt was important to point out here, since they're all equal in this regard. Now obviously, time to kill and our damage ranges aren't everything. I also wanted to have a recoil comparison here so you guys can see where the FR-556 falls in relation to the others, and as you can see, it is very clearly the most accurate burst assault rifle in the game. So it's pretty clear to me that this was designed to be the burst assault rifle that's a little bit slower but more accurate, so higher risk, higher reward. And while I will say that this gun is perfectly viable in the game's current state, especially after all of the buffs that we've seen over time, I still feel like it's not quite nailing that role as well as it should be. And the reason I say this is the reward that you're gaining for that slower time to kill potential, that very noticeably slower time to kill potential compared to the other burst guns, isn't quite worth it in my opinion, and this is primarily due to the fact that 1-burst kills are extremely rare with this gun. Like I said, you have to land at least 2 of your shots to the head and the other one can hit the body, and even with a really accurate burst gun like this, that's quite rare to see in an actual in-game environment where players are moving around. And for me at least, if it's almost always going to be a 2-burst kill anyway, I'd much rather go with the gun that's going to be a little less accurate, but I'm going to get those 2 bursts out noticeably faster. To top this off, I'm still not seeing much of a differentiation between the FR-556 and the DG56, for instance. Based on what I'm seeing, the fact that they take essentially the same number of shots to kill in the vast majority of situations, it just feels like they're basically the same style of burst gun, but one bursts a little bit faster with slightly less accuracy than the other. And in my opinion, if we're looking for optimal balance as well as a bit more variety within the burst weapons, I think the FR-556 should have some more killing potential than the DG56, while simultaneously having less forgiveness with it. So I did want to provide my nitpicky feedback on this. Of course, like I said, it's viable to use the FR-556. There's nothing really wrong with this gun. I just think in an ideal world, we'd see a bit more separation between the two, so they each have their very clear and distinct roles. And in order to accomplish that, I think the FR-556 should have a better chance of getting a 1-burst kill than the DG56, not just through recoil, but also through body multipliers or headshot damage. So I'd love to see one of 2 things done with the FR-556. The first thing would be increase the neck damage to match the headshot damage. That way you could get a 1-burst kill as long as 2 of those 3 shots hit the neck or the head. And that would make it at least a bit more likely that you're going to get that 1-burst kill compared to something like the DG56, and that would justify the slower burst delay. Or just another alternative is boost the headshot damage a little bit so you only need 1 headshot mixed in with body shots to cut that down to a 1-burst kill. That one might be a little more extreme, and then in order to compensate for that, maybe you have to add even more burst delay, just a little bit. But in doing that, that would really solidify the FR-556 as a high-risk, super high-reward gun, where you could definitely get a lot of satisfying 1-burst kills with it if your shot is really on point. Whereas if you want a burst assault rifle that's a bit more spammable, then you clearly want to lean more toward the DG56. So there we go, those are just my thoughts, because as of right now, I just don't see much reason to use the FR-556 compared to the DG56, at least in realistic in-game situations. In saying that though, I do want to share my updated class setups with you guys with the FR-556, and let's start it off with my accuracy build, which is the one you're seeing in the video today. And with this, we're using the X10 ported 290 muzzle to help with that vertical climb within each burst. We have the 435mm barrel. You could also use the barrel that improves our ranges and bullet velocity. That's perfectly fine as well, but I decided to go all in on recoil for this one, since I feel the ranges are already really solid on this, and it's generally going to be a 2-burst kill either way. So especially once you're in those longer ranges, the difference between a 4-shot kill and a 5-shot kill generally isn't going to matter that much. We have the SL Skeletal vertical underbarrel, the Jack glassless optic, and then finally the FR anchor comb, which is going to help us a bit with flinch resistance as well, and that's important if you're going for peak accuracy, especially at a bit of a range. And with this, you can see we've got an extremely accurate gun on our hands. There is very little recoil within each burst, and you can definitely be picking people off head glitches quite effectively with this. And in order to gain that incredible accuracy, our aim down sight speed is definitely a bit slower at 295 milliseconds. That's still reasonable, especially if you're not playing hyper aggressive. Our sprint out time is just very slightly reduced at 217 milliseconds. Again, you don't want to be rushing around with this setup. And like I said earlier, we are improving our flinch resistance as well, which just ensures that we'll be able to stay on target more effectively as people are shooting back at us. So that's the first one, and I've definitely been finding a fair amount of success with it, especially on the longer range maps. However, for the next one, I wanted to share something that's a bit more versatile, that can hold its own a little better in those more close to mid-range engagements. And this is my new all-around stealth build. With this one, we're using that new Scratch 20L suppressor, the SL Skeletal Vertical Underbarrel, the 45-round magazine, just because I find if I'm dealing with multiple enemies, with the standard 25-round mag, I just feel like I can only get 2 or 3 kills before I need a reload, whereas with 45 rounds, I can consistently get at least like 4 or 5 kills per magazine. And then I top this off with the Mark III reflector. And with this one, we've still got a very accurate gun on our hands. It's obviously not going to be quite as accurate as the previous one, but you can still stretch your ranges out and hit your shots effectively just fine with this. Our aim down sight speed is very noticeably better at 239 milliseconds, and our sprint out time is also very noticeably improved at 176 milliseconds. So with this combination, we can be a lot more aggressive with this gun. One thing we did here is we did slightly harm our flinch resistance, but it's still not bad by any means. It's 0.17 newtons. Most regular guns in the game have a flinch value of like 0.15 newtons, so it's pretty much the same. And then of course, with that suppressor, we will be staying off the radar, which will often allow us to flank in around enemy players without them immediately noticing our location on the minimap. And there we go, that wraps it up for my more all-around build. To be honest, in that case though, you're probably just going to be better off with a DG56 build in the majority of situations, because you are still going to have to deal with that slower burst delay and therefore slower time to kill, unless you're managing to hit those headshots really, really effectively, which, like I said, that's just not going to happen on a really consistent basis, even with this gun being quite accurate. And with that, that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Just wanted to make sure I was keeping you guys updated since we did see so many changes to the FR-556 over time. And like I've been saying, it's a perfectly viable burst gun now. You can definitely use it, find some success with it, and if you're looking for a change of pace, you might want to try it out again. In saying that though, I still think there is some room for improvement with the FR-556, and not even just improvement, just room to differentiate it more and make it something a little more unique and special compared to the DG56. Now, of course, this is where I'm curious to hear from you guys in those comments down below. For those of you guys that have tried out the FR-556 after the recent buffs that we got with Season 3 Reloaded, how are you feeling about it in its current state? Are you generally liking it, or not so much? Would you rather be using one of the other burst assault rifles? Just let me know all of those thoughts down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.